I got this new sturdy workbench and it's wonderful. Welcome back to the Breakfast Piano Project, where I'm motivating a mob of mediocre musicians just like myself with my millennial mindset. My name is Miss Lindsey. I'm a Piano with Jonny student and also a private piano teacher, for those who don't know any better. Here's to another day in the life of me documenting one of my horribly run piano lessons in an effort to become a real musician. Now in this lesson, we are still following the Piano with Jonny Burlesque Blues course, and I am now on lesson 2. If you didn't get to see my Burlesque Blues lesson 1, fret not. In a nutshell, it's just me getting super excited about something else that someone else is doing. And although fangirl hunting is one of my favorite daytime and nighttime activities, I'm finding that it doesn't always yield practice results. Sometimes I feel down on myself. No matter how long I stare at someone else's hands, it still doesn't necessarily give me the ability to do anything. I feel like no matter how long I watch someone I admire play something I admire, it doesn't necessarily give me the gift of admirably playing for others. Now, I'm not saying that I don't appreciate or admire my own playing. What I'm saying is that my self-criticisms shout at me so loud sometimes that I literally can't hear my own progress, and so I rely on the emotional investments of others to tell me that I'm acceptable. You can show me you accept me by subscribing to my infant YouTube channel. I want to say that this process gets easier over time, but I have no idea, let's be honest. Lucky for me, I decided to make a self-commitment to pursue the craft of piano because maybe then I will finally be happy with my life. I know that there are out there piano players that are miserable. I just feel like there's a lot less of a risk of being miserable if you're involved with music. And I don't want to be bothered with the inferior emotion of misery and discomfort. So let's just take those fears and worries and squish them all the way down inside our soul and build a practice routine based off positive focus, because that totally works. Effort and frustration doesn't exist when you're working hard. So how is my practice routine going when I'm not procrastinating? Let me tell you how it went after lesson 1. All of the Piano with Jonny's courses come with lovely little free printouts like this, which is a little look-see into the written music of what we're going to be accomplishing in our Piano with Jonny lessons. Because I already know how to read music, I sort of went ahead, cheated, and practiced what I thought might be coming in the upcoming lessons, so I was a little more prepared. Now, just because I can read music and play it on the piano doesn't mean that it turned out with any sort of quality. In fact, my self-criticism, as it likes to scream, was yelling that my legato playing was going a little bit overboard. As it turns out, my safety coping mechanism is gripping the pedal until we have completely sunk this song ship like the Titanic. Take a look. Regardless of who thinks what, self-criticism can always get to anyone at any level. And as you can see, mine makes me a little nauseous. To try to progress past this feeling, I just decided to do the death circle technique, which is regardless of how you're feeling, you just practice until you want to die. And the feeling of death does inhibit the feeling of nausea, and so it all worked out in the end. I still can't seem to shake the incredulous trauma bond that I have to my own sustain pedal, but that's okay. Hopefully we can kick that habit in lesson number 2. All right, Jonny, you're up for burlesque lesson number 2. Please help me shake the intensity of this heavy legato pedal and become a little bit more spring-actioned and playful in my naked blues burlesque.
We learned the left-hand chords, we learned the melody on the lead sheet, you learned the left-hand pattern for the burlesque blues, and now what we're going to do is we're going to apply that pattern to the chords for this arrangement.
Okay, so lesson 2, I looked through it, and it's basically just about getting your right hand together with your left hand, and seeing as how we already did that, we can just skip ahead to lesson 3.
One, trip, blitz. Let's all beat 1. 1.
Okay, so as it turns out, lesson 3 is just about walking your hands together in a rhythmly fashion. And since we also already did that, we get to go on to lesson 4.
And so one thing you can do is whenever you're holding a chord, you can tremolo the chord. And this is a tremolo.
Stop, we found our stopping area. So tremolos are a fun little spice, if you will, and they're a little bit rough on my awkward fingers, and so I need some time to roll this through my brain before we start adding all of the tricks. I think he smashed a bunch of tricks into lesson 4, and so we're just gonna take it one at a time. The first thing I did was try to lighten up my touch. I'm really happy we got a little bit lighter of a touch because you know if we tremolo on top of a drowning sustain pedal, it sounds extra dreary. Don't do that. Don't tremolo on a 32 count sustain pedal hold. Regardless of what chord changes are happening, there's no reason to hold your pedal that long. I know you want to. I want to as well. It makes us feel warm and safe, but don't do it. Everybody else feels cold and Atlantic. And your tremolo is a representation of the iceberg that's literally drowning their eardrum. Here was my first attempt to not do that and lighten up that touch in a fluffy first try tremolo. I did my best in lightening up the touch and adding a mild tremolo, but I'm obviously going to need a few weeks to really work on that light, fluffy tremolo feeling. Remember, folks, practice the death circle until you feel like you want to die. I'm thoroughly convinced that I could die at any moment, and so I'm going to cut this video off. I hope you enjoyed my progress report, and I'll see you in the next one.